Mario Odyssey challenges are something people have done time and time again, so I wondered to myself, could I complete the game using Cappy only 300 times? Sounds doable, right? Let me tell you, this was incredibly hard to do. Some moons you have to use Cappy to get, so finding a way around that was a very interesting experience. I started out in Cap Kingdom, where I accidentally used him twice trying to roll, so there is no rolling, just in case I accidentally use Cap. Then I had to use him to pull the lever, open the door, capture a frog to get to another door, where I had to use Cappy again. Then we are at our first brutal fight, where I thankfully didn't have to use Cappy for. Then we get to Cascade Kingdom. I had to use Cappy on the power line, and I had to use Cappy for my first moon using the Chain Chomp. Then by capturing the T-Rex, I could get to the brutal fight. Now, this next part, I know I could have skipped by jumping around the wall, but I didn't think about it at the time. So I used Cappy another time to capture a Chain Chomp. Now, for this brutal fight, you have to use Cappy at least 6 times, and that's what I did. Then I used Cappy on the Chain Chomp to get to my last moon, and I used Cappy to leave Cascade. Now for Sand Kingdom, there are a lot of moons to cover, so I'll just tell y'all which moons I used Cappy, and then the moons I didn't use Cappy for, because those are the more interesting moons. I used Cappy 4 times for a Bullet Bill moon, 2 times for the moon on the pillar, once for another Bullet Bill moon, then I had to use Cappy 4 times to get to the brutal fight, and there I used Cappy 4 times to defeat the brutal. To get to the main boss fight, I used Cappy 9 times. During the boss fight, I used Cappy 5 times. I also used Cappy on accident a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. The moons I got without using Cappy were atop the highest tower, moon shards in the sand, sand quiz, treasure vault, lost in luggage, among the 5 cactus, and found in the sand. I was finally able to use Cappy to leave Sand Kingdom. By the end of this kingdom, I'd used Cappy a whopping 40 times. Water Kingdom was a bit tricky for me to not use Cappy, but I used Cappy once for the Round the Corner Nut Moon and the Road to Sky Garden Moon. Then I used Cappy once to get the Thanks for the Charge Moon and 4 times to get to the Path to the Secret Flower Field Moon. Now we are at the boss fight where I had to use Cappy twice, but that was only because I missed the capture the first time. Then I used Cappy to get the Fire in the Cave Moon. I also used Cappy on accident 2 times here. I didn't have to use Cappy to buy a moon or for the cracked nut moon on the tower and the nut planted in the tower moon. Or to defeat Spirit, I also didn't have to use Cappy. The next 2 moons I got without using Cappy were right next to each other, the Rock Moon and the Rabbit Moon. Then I used Cappy to leave Wooded Kingdom. By the end of this kingdom, I had used Cappy 12 times. We are now in Lake Kingdom, where I used Cappy to use the zipper to get to the lake, and I used Cappy to open up the boxes because I didn't know a moon wasn't there. And I used it at the zipper again because it closed up when I went back to the Odyssey. Here's where I did not use Cappy. To get to the Talking Notes Moon, and on the Lakeshore Moon in the beginning area. In the lake, I did not use Cappy to get the Cheap Cheap Crossing Moon, the Dory Backrider Moon, the Captain Toad Moon, the Our Little Secret Room Moon, and I bought a moon at the shop. Then I went back through the tunnel to get to the Chest Moon, and after that I used Cappy to leave Lake Kingdom. By the end of this kingdom, I had used Cappy 4 times. We are now at our mini Bowser fight in Cloud Kingdom, where I used Cappy 3 times on the floating clouds, and 3 times to defeat Bowser. Then, Bowser sent me to Lost Kingdom, where I used Cappy to get inside the Wall Moon, once to get the Shard Moon, and the Bridge Moon. Then I used Cappy twice to get the Wrecked Block Moon, 12 times to get to the Mountain Road Moon, once to get the Soaring Moon, and I accidentally used Cappy 1, 2, 3 times. Where I didn't use Cappy was to get over the Fuzzies Moon, inside the Stone Cage Moon. I also bought a moon from the shop, and I got the View Moon. Then we could use Cappy to leave Lost Kingdom, and I also missed the globe once, so that made me use Cappy twice. By the end of this kingdom, I'd used Cappy 22 times. Metro Kingdom is where I went to next, where I used Cappy on the power line twice to get to the boss battle where I dealt with the best problem ever, Joy-Con drift, making me use Cappy twice instead of the normal 1 time. Then I used Cappy on a power line to get to the square, and the last moon I used Cappy for was the Hidden Scrap Moon. I also accidentally used Cappy 1, 2, 3 times. The places I didn't use Cappy were in the shop, to get the Iron Tunnel Moon, Swing in the Breeze Moon, the Jump Rope Moon, which for some reason is always difficult for me, the Lonely Man Moon. Also, a cool little side note, I discovered you don't need to use Cappy for this power line to get on top of the building, which is cool. Then I didn't use Cappy to get the Trash Moon, Drummer Moon, Girder Sandwich Moon, Guitar Moon, Free Parking Moon, the Motor Scooter Moon, Big Jump Moon, Taking Notes Moon, Captain Toad Moon. Then I used Cappy once on the power line and once on the globe to leave Metro Kingdom. By the end of this kingdom, I had used Cappy 11 times. I then chose to go to Seaside Kingdom first. Now, most of the moons in this kingdom, I actually didn't have to use Cappy at all. I only had to use Cappy once to get the Stone Pillar Seal Moon, and I accidentally used Cappy one time. Now, most of the moons in this kingdom, I didn't use Cappy for at all. Here are the moons I didn't use Cappy to get. The Trap Moon, where I couldn't seem to kill these guys. Then I bought a moon, got the Ocean Bottom Maze Moon, Ocean Quiz Moon, Underwater Vault Moon. Also, you see this nut? I didn't know that you didn't have to hold Y to keep holding it, so I just made it extremely complicated for myself and held Y while swimming up, and I never even got that moon. Then I got the Dory Moon, the Hula Moon, the Nesting Spot Moon, and the Dangerous Ceiling Moon. Then I used Cappy to leave Seaside. By the end of this kingdom, I had used Cappy 3 times. Now, being in Snow Kingdom, there are a few moons we had to use Cappy for because we can't get any moons when there's a blizzard, at least above the town. I used Cappy at the Rango boss battle 5 times, twice on accident because I missed, but this gave me the Barrier Moon, and I used Cappy twice for the Gusty Barrier Moon. The last moon I used Cappy for was the Racing Multi-Moon. And I accidentally used Cappy 1 time. These are the moons I didn't have to use Cappy for. The Shop Moon, the Entrance Moon, the Shard Moon, the Icicle Barrier Moon, and the Note Moon. Then I used Cappy to leave Snow Kingdom. By the end of this kingdom, I'd used Cappy 10 times. We have now arrived in Luncheon Kingdom, where I have to use Cappy and progress the storyline a bit to get enough moons to move on. I used Cappy once to get to the Brutal Fight, twice to get to the Slop Moon. Then I spent around 10 minutes trying to get a Cooking Moon that I thought I could get without using Cappy, but I definitely was wrong and ended up just using Cappy anyways to get the Strong Simmer Moon. I then used Cappy to get the Salt Moon, used Cappy 3 times to get the Under the Cheese Moon, used Cappy once to get the Volcano Dive Moon, twice to get the Behind the Pillars Moon, and the Climb Up Moon. Then I used Cappy twice to get to the boss fight where I got the Cook Showdown Moon. And I accidentally used Cappy 1 time in this kingdom. Now Cappy wasn't used for the Brutal Fight to get the Brutal Moon, the Ingredient Moon, the Shopping Moon, the Top of Column Moon, and the Mountain Moon. Then I used Cappy to leave Luncheon Kingdom. By the end of this kingdom, I'd used Cappy 15 times. Then we got to Ruined Kingdom, where I used Cappy twice to get to the boss battle, and 13 times during the boss battle to get the Dragon Moon. Then I used Cappy to leave Ruined Kingdom. By the end of this kingdom, I'd used Cappy 16 times. Now we are in Bowser's Kingdom. In this kingdom, it is really hard not to use Cappy a lot, as to get to where we need to go, we have to use power lines and the Pokio. Now, this is all where I used Cappy. I used Cappy on the first power line, twice on a Pokio to get behind the big wall moon, the second power line, the third power line, twice on another Pokio to get the Shard Moon, on the 4th power line, the 5th power line, and we are now at the 2 boss battles where I used Cappy 6 times to defeat Harriet, and none for the Topper fight to get the big brutal battle moon. Then I used Cappy 8 times on 4 Pokio because I kept dying, and used Cappy on the 6th power line where the next boss fight was, where I used Cappy twice and got the Showdown Moon. Then I didn't use Cappy to get the Note Moon, the Infiltrate Moon, and the Shop Moon. Then I used Cappy to leave Bowser Kingdom. By the end of this kingdom, I'd used Cappy 27 times. Now, in Moon Kingdom, you don't need to use Cappy for moons, but you need Cappy to get to the castle. So I used Cappy 7 times on 3 Parabones. On the first power line twice. To get to the next section, I didn't have to use Cappy on this moving platform, but I did use Cappy 4 times on a bullet bill, which led to a random moon, and to use Cappy 4 times on 2 other bullet bills. Once on a Moai, once on another bullet bill, and once on the second power line. To get to the Madame Brutal fight, I figured out a way to get there without using Cappy at all, except on the 3rd power line that I used Cappy on 4 times. And at the boss fight, I used Cappy, you're not going to believe this, a whopping 45 times because I kept dying near the end of the fight. But we're all good now. We can move on to where I had to use Cappy 3 times to open up the door to the castle. Now, for the Bowser boss fight, I used Cappy 10 times again because I died more times than needed. Then I used Cappy 1 last time to capture Bowser. By the end of this kingdom, I'd used Cappy 83 times. I'm sure you're all waiting for the answer. Can you defeat Mario Odyssey only using Cappy 300 times? Yes, you can. I used Cappy a total of 264 times. This was a very fun video to make, so make sure to capture that subscribe button before you go. Bye, buddies! Actually, after I was editing this video and had all of the voiceovers done, I noticed that I missed a few Cappy uses, but I still beat Mario Odyssey with only using Cappy under 300 times. Thanks for being understanding. Bye!